servant leaders really understand that leadership is not about power, it's about purpose, and it's about people. And a good leader has to understand who they work with, what motivates people, what makes them want to work for you, what makes them want to perform at a high level on a day to day basis. And then what we do is really empower our teams to be independent thinkers and being able to make decisions and take leadership. Awesome. So I'll kick it off when we talk about visionary leadership and visionary thinkers. And as a leader, I've been a project leader for a while. And when I think about being a visionary leader, it's not about just setting a direction, but inspiring my teams. And that's so important because as I manage projects, we are often given a task or a goal of something to a goal to believe in. But as a project manager, not only do we need to believe in that goal, but I have to kind of ignite the fire. So it's not just a goal, but it's actually becomes a belief system. It's something that we live by and we have to move forward. And on a day to day basis, I must align the team. So, as a project manager, we have tasks, activities, but I have a great leader really aligns the teams and make sure that it's not just for a short term, but it's a long term vision. And then also help people think their roles are bigger than what they are. So it's not just, hey, I'm a project manager, I'm a QA person. No, you're part of a team and we have to be bigger than what our roles are so that we can really accomplish our goals.
Absolutely. And I love how you've put that, Bianca. Visionary leadership is all about helping the team see the bigger picture and feel genuinely connected to it. It's like you're not just giving them a map, you're lighting the path and showing them why that journey matters. And that definitely resonates in project management, where the goal isn't just to complete tasks, but to inspire everyone to see their role as part of something bigger and more meaningful. So I'm excited to dive into the other traits with you.
Yes. So let's talk about emotional intelligence. And I was at a conference, Women in Ag, a few weeks ago, and there was a session on emotional intelligence. And I actually had to bring it back to my team because it's been a while since I really talked about it, but it's something I do pretty much on a daily basis. So, and when I think about emotional intelligence, I think about as a leader, we lead not only with our head, but also our heart. Having a sense of empathy is very important. And then we have to understand people. People are at the center of everything we do. We think about their emotions, what motivates them, what are some of their challenges. And then, as a thought leader, as well as using emotional intelligence, we have to be able to listen. And listening is very important on any project because a lot of times when we talk about communications, it's a two-way streak, but you have to be able to listen to understand. And that's very, very important when we talk about emotional intelligence. And then also, especially as a project manager, I know we're always on deadlines. I'm on a project now that we've passed the deadline, so we're behind schedule and it's had to be put on pause. So there's high stress situations and the team has been tense. You know, we had a deadline to meet, but being able to effectively as a leader communicate not, yes, we're behind schedule, but being able to justify why. And then also over the last probably 10 weeks since we started the project, I've documented what some of the issues were. So when I say emotional intelligence turns authority into influence and influence into impact, and that's critical, very critical.
Absolutely. That's such a powerful way to put it. Emotional intelligence really is that bridge that turns authority into genuine influence. It's what transforms a leader from just managing a project to truly impacting a team in a meaningful way. And I love that you mentioned how it plays out in those high stress moments. Being able to communicate why things are happening, to empathize with the team's stress, and to keep everyone aligned is what really sets emotionally intelligent leaders apart. It's not just about getting through the project. It's about making sure everyone feels heard and supported along the way.
And I thought, just let's talk about, thank you so much. 'Cause that emotional intelligence, it's been around for quite some time, but we kind of ignore it or just don't think about it. And so when I was at that conference and they brought it up, it was really good to bring it back to the forefront. And I think the third thing when we talk about what characteristics make a great leader deals with accountability and integrity. And integrity is so important because you don't just do what I say I'm going to do, but I'll do what I say I'm going to do even when no one's watching. And I just think about how many times on a project that you have to be accountable. You have to be accountable because as a project manager, I may not have overall responsibility as far as direct reporting to people who work for me, but I have to have and build trust in those resources that they will do things that I've assigned them and do it right even if I don't have to speak to them every day, I don't have to micromanage and watch over them. And that's the same for me as a project manager. I work remotely at times. So my clients have to believe because they see results. That's the thing. And it's about seeing results and seeing impact that, I'll own up to my mistakes if I have those. And then I also learn to celebrate the success of a team. And my teams know we work hard and we play hard. And I like to reward good work. And then finally, when I talked about accountability and integrity, is really building trust among the people you work with, as well as trust really fuels performance. So if people, my project teams understand that I trust them, I believe in them, and I encourage and inspire them, they're going to perform hard. You know how they say we go hard, they go hard for me. So I really, really appreciate those things.
Absolutely. And you've captured that so beautifully. It really is all about that trust and accountability loop. When your team knows that you have integrity, that you'll own up to mistakes and celebrate successes, they feel empowered. And you're absolutely right. When they know you trust them and that you're not going to micromanage them, they really do step up and give their best. It's that mutual respect that creates a high performing team. And I love that you make space for both working hard and celebrating hard. That's such an important part of building a positive culture. So, yeah, accountability and integrity really do lay the foundation for everything else.
And then the fourth one, when we think about in a world that's full of AI and rapid change, constant chaos, constant disruption, we have to be adaptable in our skill set. And it's always a sense of survival. So being able to be adaptable, continuous learning and education. I've been working over the last 3 years, really getting up my AI skills to make sure I do it in conferences. I do a lot of leadership development, personal development, because that's all key on a project team. And so, as great leaders, we're lifetime learners. I tell everybody, I love to learn. I love to read. I love to have intellectual conversations because I am a lifetime learner. And then the other thing I talk about great leadership, you have to be curious because that's who solves problems. I said back in the day, I always used to say, I will make money, I will survive as long as I can solve someone's problem. And that's why I've had a long career is because I have been able to solve people's problems. I'm open minded and I listen to what people say and then you have to be flexible, adaptable because things change. Like I said, have a project that I've been working on. We've been working on it for 12 weeks and we had to stop and had to pivot. And that's one of the things, kind of my saying. I say pivot with purpose and pivot with power because that's so important. And then be able to be resilient in spite of challenges, in spite of obstacles. I always tell my teams we can bounce back. Let's come up, let's think outside the box, come up with some great ideas of how we can make or adapt to this change that happens to us on a daily basis.
Absolutely. And I love that you bring up the idea of being a lifelong learner. It's such a crucial part of being a great leader, staying curious, being open to new ideas, and constantly evolving your skills. When you talk about pivoting with purpose and power, that's exactly what adaptability is all about. It's not just about changing direction because you have to. It's about doing it intentionally with a clear vision and a resilient mindset. And that flexibility you mentioned is key, especially in a world full of AI and constant change. It's all about embracing those challenges as opportunities to learn and grow. And when your team sees you leading by example, staying resilient, staying curious, and tackling problems head on, they're going to follow suit. So it's really about fostering that culture of adaptability and making sure everyone feels empowered to navigate change together.
And kind of one of my other sayings, I always say leaders who learn faster lead stronger. And so it's about as a leader, there's so much change. There's so many things that are happening in the marketplace right now. You need to learn faster. Things are happening at the instant now. I mean, I remember we had projects that were 2 and 3 years. Now you have projects that may be 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and you have to deliver. So I always tell great leaders, leaders who learn faster and stronger, lead stronger. So the fifth thing we'll talk about is just empowerment and servant leader. So servant leaders really understand that leadership is not about power, it's about purpose, and it's about people. And when I first started in project management, I was a project manager. Well, really, I was a management consultant with IBM. And we always learned people, process, tools, people, process, tools. And at the center was people. And a lot of people don't understand a good leader has to understand who they work with, what motivates people, what makes them want to work for you, what makes them want to perform at a high level on a day to day basis. And then what we do is really empower our teams to be independent thinkers and being able to make decisions and take leadership. I've worked on a few projects where people wanted to micromanage the teams. They didn't provide the autonomy for us to make decisions. And it was hard for them to make decisions. And I know just recently a company, they didn't want the project team to take leadership. So we escalated to the second level of management. Their managers didn't want them to make a decision. So we ended up spending maybe $100,000 more for a project that we should have cut off at week number 4. But because those leaders did not empower their teams, it cost a lot of money. So being able to empower teams, the other thing is to remove roadblocks. And I tell my teams, I'm like the pit bull. I block and tackle. That's my job, is to block and tackle, to remove those roadblocks, and then provide those teams with tools for success that they can use. So that's what great leaders do. And then finally, when we talk about servant leadership, I lead from behind. I learn to give credit to the project team. And when I am in front, it's time to take responsibility. I will do that. But I love leading from behind because as a good servant leader, I have instructed and directed my team with clear direction and instructions. And if I'm not there, they know how to take the reins and move forward. And what I've done is equip them with the knowledge and expertise that they have, and I trust them. So I know if I'm not there, they will make good decisions. And they know it's because I trust them. So I'm a good servant leader. I lead from behind. I can be out front when I need to be, to share the vision, to share the goals, to motivate them, to inspire them. But a good leader is a servant leader.
Absolutely. And you've really captured the essence of servant leadership beautifully. It's all about empowering your team to shine, making sure they have the tools and the freedom to make those decisions, and really stepping back to let them lead when they're ready. I love that you mentioned being the block and tackle person, because that's exactly what a great servant leader does, removing obstacles and letting the team do what they do best. And when you talk about leading from behind, it's such a powerful concept. It shows that you trust your team, that you've equipped them well, and that you're there to support them rather than control them. It's that kind of leadership that really builds strong, confident teams who can carry that vision forward even when you're not in the room. So, yes, a great leader is indeed a servant leader, and that's where real success comes from.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to speaking with you, Monique, for our next session. But I hope everyone got some great takeaways on the 5 characteristics or traits of a good leader. And just follow us below and let me share some of your thoughts and experiences of great leaders that have been in your pathway. Or if you're a great leader, what are some of the techniques and tools that you use also to reward and motivate and inspire your team? Have a good one.